Hello, 422, 585. Hope you're having a good week. Number one thing, don't forget Tuesday, we do not have a live meeting. But I'm recording this session because I said I would give a little info on just some reminders. And also, I decided I wanted to talk about political lenses, and I said I would put it political lenses, social studies lenses, and I thought I would go ahead and put that on here. A few disclaimers. I'm recording this from my office. My son is across the hallway talking to someone online. So if you see me turn around, it's probably because he's talking very loudly, but I'm going to keep on going. So, with all that being said, let me pull up our section just to make sure we're on the same page with some things before I get going. One, we're talking about social studies lenses, mostly lenses. I wanted to show people anchor charts, and actually I could kick myself because I didn't pull any up when I started recording this, but I can find some very quickly on Google just to kind of give you an idea of what an anchor chart is. Also, DBQs. I think everyone's familiar with DBQs, and they go hand in hand sort of with lenses and looking at things from different points of view and such. But just in case, I'm going to show you the DBQ project that's online in case you're ever interested in that resource. Actually, I think a lot of the districts actually do purchase it now. I know Washington County was buying it. Don't forget, next class, that needs to I'm going to fix this right now. Our next class, make sure you have your inquiry-based projects done by the 12th. The sign-up sheet was on there. Remember, you just answer those questions. We're going to present them in class. You can do them as a PowerPoint. You can just do them as an answer sheet. There should be, and if it is not up, I will make sure that it is up today. Let me double check. I made it. I don't know if I put it there. Oh, yep. World history analysis. That's where you can put it. So, and it should be one here, but let's make sure that I did that too. I have, right there. Boom. So you can submit that all right there. Quiz 2 is up if you need to finish it. Remember, I got it up a day or two late, so I did extend the due date. I'll take it whenever, but I put it to the end of the month because I figured everyone would probably want to have it done by then. Don't forget the blog. And I think, anchor charts. I'll show you some. I thought I had put some stuff up on anchor charts. Let me just go ahead and dive into that. So with all that being said, here we go, anchor charts. I don't know if anyone's actually seen an anchor. Everyone's seen an anchor chart. I don't know if anyone's actually used an anchor chart. I liked anchor charts. I use them a lot. They're those big pieces of paper, and a lot of times you'll have a big question, and you'll have students work on them, and you hang them up in your class. You might have students define authoritarianism, or authoritarian, communism, democracy, and you put them up. The students. It's almost like a democratic classroom type approach. That's a pretty cool one. Let me jump back here. I think I put a few of them on here. And there's some methods that you can kind of look at here. There's reusable sets, people, places, things. I actually did grapes a lot of times as anchor charts where I would have the students work and put them on these big sheets of paper. I'm not in my office. My work office. I don't have the big sheets of paper, but they would literally just be on the big poster and you would just have students do things and use them. There you go. I like that. This person does people, places, and vocab. So they can do, identify key things. But anchor charts are pretty cool. They're a nice way, I think, to get, you can decorate your classroom. You can have students work together, collaborative type activities. And, here's some other ones that are sets up. These are ones I think you can print them out or purchase them. I would probably just, kind of use them as models. But you can see maybe they have like sequence type approaches. And then, the geographic. I was talking about grapes and things like that. Hippo, I've done that before. So there you go. That's just anchor charts. I put them on there, and I thought that was something I should mention. You can Google anchor charts, and there's thousands of them. There's Pinterest, teachers pay teachers. I haven't mentioned that. I don't get into that too much with the tech class. Teachers pay teachers. I know people use it. I never use it. I'm not going to lie. I've never bought one thing on there. I do think there is something about making your own stuff, even if you're using inspiration from other things, because I understand time gets tight sometimes, but I think it embeds you more with the the topics and the content and kind of seeing things from the student's point of view. But that's just a personal thing. I'm not, here to um, deny or anything. Sorry, I was almost sneezing. I'm not stopping this video. Um, but that is Anchor Charts. DBQ project, let me go ahead and pull that up. I think, like I say, I'm pretty sure everyone knows what a DBQ is, but it's a document-based question assignment. And DBQ. These were things we ran out of time on last week, or I had already moved you over to the big map and I was going to make you come back over. But a lot of school districts actually buy DBQ, the DBQ project. I inquired about it, but it was really crazy high. Let's go back. That's one you might want to check out if your school district has. Let me try this. Sample DBQ. There's tons of samples for the AP exams you can look at all the time. And you can see, I think this is one thing you have to watch. This is just a personal aside. DBQs are, I think, fine. They're good to use in class. I think now they're so associated with the AP exam. Sometimes people model more on that, even if they're not teaching AP, than if they weren't, or so to speak. And they're good questions, and I'm not saying it's not a good technique or anything like that, but don't get the lines blurred. Like, as you see, this was the first sample. It's an AP history, a US history exam, and there's some of the sources you're breaking down graphs, and then there's the accompanying questions. And you can kind of check some of these out. Actually, I'll tell you what, I'll throw this up on the website or on the Brightspace bot. But again, I think everyone's familiar with document-based questions, but you're going to look at a source and you're going to kind of have associating questions with it. Sometimes it's graph, sometimes it's an image, sometimes it's a document, sometimes it's a quote. There's a lot of different things you can do with it. So with all that being said, this really wasn't the heart of what I wanted to get into today. I wanted to talk about political, I've done that 2 times, social studies lenses. Again, not a rock star concept. Let me rephrase that. It's not a complex concept. And I think it's something that social studies teachers have been doing for years, and now it's just been more formalized. But basically, it's looking through conceptual lenses. The most common ones are probably the top 4 there: the historian, the geographer, the economist, and the political scientist. Though it does seem like an anthropologist type stuff is starting to creep in more and more. It's not a bad thing. It's probably a good thing. And if you noticed, I don't know how much you all have looked at the C3 stuff with the National Council of Social Studies and that inquiry approach technique we talked about. All this stuff goes back to inquiry-based learning, DBQs, HIPPO, sources. Remember, I sent you all those QR codes. C3, looking at things through lenses. That's all inquiry-based approaches. These are the 4 areas that are most associated with the C3 approach, and like the content areas, like making sure students look at it through these type of lenses. So real quick, like I say, I'm going to post this up. I don't want to read it word for word for you because I'm sure that would get a little tedious, but I'll probably pick out a thing or 2 from each one. And I'm doing this a little bit on the fly, so let's just go ahead and jump right in. All right. Historian, I think everyone kind of knows what a historian is, but they, examine written records and documents from the past. You want your students to think chronologically, do resources. And this is the inquiry part. And this is what makes it through the historical lens when you have your students look at a document through a historical lens. What are these questions that a historian might ask? The cause and effect, what decisions affected other outcomes, or what decisions made at that time affected different things. For example, you might say, the one that pops right in my mind is the Treaty of Versailles, kind of that hard, armistice or peace with Germany. Did that have an effect on World War II? You might have your students look at it through that lens. What relationships develop. But that's a historical lens. That's one of the big lenses. The geographer, by the way, I have a geographer lesson I'm going to show you actually after I kind of mumble through this. But this is looking at things with the physical environment of the earth. You want your students to be able to look at things through spatial terms, different systems, the human environmental interaction. I didn't mention it last week. Shame on me. but it should be your, your 5 themes of geography. I will post those up, but let me just go ahead and see. Can I pull it up? Very easy concept. Sorry, sometimes I lose my cursor with this Mac especially when I'm in Safari. Definitely a Mac person. I'm not gonna lie, but sometimes I do get a little things. 5 themes of geography, and this is a great way to organize. Oh, 5 themes of geography. Not pulling it up. Did I get kicked offline again? Oh no. Let's try this. No, I didn't. 5 themes of geography. Bam. There you go. Location, place, region, movement, human environmental interaction. Those are the 5 themes, and you can have your students break those down. And of course, there's things I will make sure I post something for you all with those, but they're pretty straightforward. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking a little bit here while I'm looking at it to make sure that I don't forget. That's nice. And you know what? I'm gonna diverge a little bit with the lens. Your location is your actual absolute relative place, human environmental action, how humans influence the environment. Region is kind of where it's unofficial and official boundaries. I'll put this up too. This is actually a nice little definition, but that's something with your political lenses that I think you definitely want to keep in mind. There it is. So, but as you're doing that through your or lens of a geographer, make sure that you keep those 5 themes in mind. And if you organize your content with that, you should be good. But what are some of the questions? And they can base back to, those 5 themes of geography. How do humans impact the environment? I think that's actually one on there. What changes the environment have on, the economy, the politics, and things like that. Keystone Pipeline. That might be one where you can get into the politics of a place. What am I talking about? We live in West Virginia. Strip mining is always one of the most famous things that goes on. It was always a controversial issue as far as a geographic type thing. You can look at that through the eyes of a geographer easily. So, looking at that. And actually, I have a lesson that I'm going to show you on the one from a geographer. The Economist, I think that's pretty simple, but that is, someone that looks at things or trends in the economy. I guess something with the Great Depression would be like an easy one to go straight into. But again, there's some of the questions they might ask. Political Scientist, I know just talking to everyone from 585, it sounds like we have a lot of political scientists or poli-sci majors in there. That's the thing. You're going to look at things as far as politics, government, the political process, and through that lens. And students should be able to. It's a little not spaced out. Let me fix that. Understand the political system, analyze international affairs, all that. And here's some questions. What are the political advantages being made? How do rules and laws? We talked about thematic history. We haven't gotten into it with the United States yet, but you can look at things through court cases. I think I even said that like 3 times last week for some reason. At 200, we've been looking at some educational ones. I think you can definitely go into that and like the effects and like the politics of it and look at court cases and how relationships and the effects of things of these political aspects and how they got there. You could easily do. You can look at documents from these court cases or court rulings. So anyway, anthropologists, examine humans past and present. A lot of prehistory, I think you can definitely do with cultural anthropologists. And I think, of course, you can dive into a little bit of sociology and even psychology with this. But these are the major lenses, especially those first 4. And I don't want to make it any more complex. I will post this up there. But basically, you're looking at things through the eyes of a historian, through the eyes of a geographer, through the eyes of a political scientist, through the eyes of an economist. And you're just kind of asking the questions that they will. I catch myself doing it all the time. My sister's a lawyer, and I have a little more of a history background. She's a little more of a poli-sci person, and we definitely do look at things differently. Heck, my wife, she's more of a business person, and I'm a historian, and sometimes I catch myself going back like on the influences, and she's more like, where's this going to lead us, or what are the financial aspects of it? So Again, I don't want to read this word for word, but just think about this. This is something you want your students to do. You could do anchor charts to kind of tie it back in where, you might have a topic and each student has to look at the topic from a different lens. Maybe one group is going to do historical, one's going to geographic, one's going to do economy, one's going to do poli-sci. And just to kind of show you what I mean, let me get out of this. We'll shrink that down. I was lucky enough to go to something that the Library of Congress did online. It's usually live, but we didn't get to do it live this year, which was fine because it worked out well online. But this was a lesson. I'm going to post it up. They did give it to us, and I believe we could share it. This is a lesson that they did looking at some civil rights issues through the lenses of a geographer. As you can see, this is kind of how they organize it. What are you going to observe? This is the image analysis tool that they created. Observe, reflect, questions. And I think this is a nice way to set things up. But, what words are in the images, describe the buildings, reflect, questions. So let's look. Maybe. Boom. And we're going to look at political cartoons first. And then you see they have a whole set of questions. And this is it. And a lot of it, we did these as groups in breakout rooms. And a lot of what's going on here is we were kind of looking at the wordings, trying to figure out where this might be, the inferences that you can make. Great social studies, objective word there, inferences, what inferences can be made, describe the landscape. This is the eyes of a geographer. And like I say, I could see using this as an anchor chart, just like that. There's an image, there's a site. And you can see there's another hotel. And like I say, these were all related to the civil rights movement. So you can do pretty much any topic because all of those fields revolve around history. You had the civil rights. Let's think of, let me do another. Well, I mentioned World War I. I think you could definitely look at things with World War I through all of those. What are the economic causes of World War I maybe, or the effects? What were the environmental aspects? There's a lot of them that you can actually get into with that. The damage on the battlefields, the movement of human beings to one area. The historical ones, I think, pretty self-explanatory. The cultural impact, all those people get moving, it changes dynamics in different groups and regions. So as you can see, this one, again, was a geographer one. So, and there's, again, segregation and things like that. These were all images that are in the Library of Congress. You can have access to these, and I will definitely put this PowerPoint up. But this is a social studies lens activity. Okay, that was it. I told you I wouldn't get too bogged down. Of course, look at this. I lost my cursor, and it's been a pain. There's a lot going on. I'm recording this on Sunday morning. There's my son. I hear a vacuum going on. Sorry, so if I sound a little distracted, this is going to be, I'm turning off the comments and likes, thumbs up, thumbs down on the YouTube video, just in case. But I wanted to do one take. Be just like the class. I'm babbling there. I babble online. All this is on. Again, the big thing for next week, make sure you have this done now. And if you have any questions, stop by. It is midterm week. Everyone, I think, just if there's any assignments that I haven't graded, I should have everything up to date by midweek. It's been a little busy. I was out in the field, but that's my problem, not yours. And also, I knew I was stalling. 585. A couple people have emailed me with times, potential times. I'm going to get my calendar. I actually have it right here. I'm going to go through and make sure that some suggested times and email you back with like when I can do it, when I can't. Since a lot of you are at similar schools, if you could maybe line them up at the same time, that would be a big help for me if we can possibly do that, so I can jump from one class to the next. But we'll worry about that later. Oh, and I'll talk about this next week. I was thinking about those poster presentations. Again, this is for 585. But one thing with that, I think we are going to do a night, even if we can't do it with the other methodology, the students. I'll get back to you, but it was one of those things where I was out running slowly out in my neighborhood. And I just think, I think it'd be nice if we could do something it's what we normally do and just try to get back to a little bit of normalcy. So I'll talk a little bit about that when we come back live. But again, we are meeting online. This is my talking to you this week. If you have any questions, stop by. Seems like more and more people are stopping by my office during the week. I will be there. And actually this week, I've kind of tried to leave it a little open so I can get some grading done for midterm. So if you do need to swing by, please do. I'm usually there. Most days I'm definitely there 10 to 12. Tuesdays I come in a little late. This week I might be online for my for office hours on Tuesday, but I might just try to go in a little early and just do that. So if you're not for sure, if you want to fire me an email to stop by, that's fine. That should do it. I hope everyone, by the way, I've had a blast. I know I told you all this last time, but I'm so glad we moved this online, even if it's a hybrid. It's been great seeing people, talking to people, and just, getting back into the flow. I was telling someone I don't feel as polished right now when I'm doing the classes, but it's good to just get out and like communicate. So, anyway, hope everyone's having fun out in the field. I will talk to you later. This will be up. And again, don't sweat it. The big thing is try to have everything done by not this Tuesday, the following Tuesday, which would be the 12th. Like I say, the quizzes are up though. I'll keep that open a little late. So with that being said, I'm going to stop mumbling. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. I'm going to wave goodbye to everyone and talk to you later.